Welcome back to another episode of BRF Shorts On Us. This is an ongoing series of mini episodes that are perfect for shorter commutes and shorter attention spans. The word for this short is birthday.
And why have we chosen the word birthday?
Because it's someone's birthday and it's not mine. It's Ragini's birthday today, the day that this episode has been released, and we thought we'd honor that by having this particular word. And maybe I can tell some stories at the end, so wait for those.
Yes, I have to say in all fairness that I am very nervous about that last segment. But okay, so jumping in, I am going to actually start by talking a little bit about the history of birthdays. But actually, the history of birthdays is sort of fascinating. Also because it's just so innocuous, we don't even think about it. But when I went down and actually did the research around it, it's quite something to just see how we've got here today.
Okay.
The advent of birthdays tracks with around the time that people actually started using calendars. Because before that, there was no way to keep track of particular days. Now, people understood that, you could keep a general sense of time, and they understood that, that seasons fast. That sort of clarity was there. But to really understand that particular days and to mark a day each year and to kind of have a recurrent sort of marking mechanism, that wasn't in existence. And therefore, significant days weren't really celebrated.
Yeah.
It was only until people started sort of taking note of the cycles of the moon, beginning to pay very close attention to the change in seasons, and noticing that there was a pattern that was repeating over and over again, that they began marking these changes in time. And slowly, the first calendars were born, and therefore people started marking changes in time and recording significant days. Scholars who have studied the Bible say that the earliest mention of a birthday was in around 3000 BCE. And this was in reference to Pharaoh's birthday, but not the day that he was born into the world, but the day of his birth as a god. Now, early Egyptians used to believe that the crowning of a pharaoh was the day that they were considered to have transformed from being mere mortals to being gods. And so it was a moment in their lives that was even more important than their physical birthday.
Yeah, I bet their mothers loved that.
And then from there, it moved over into Greece and Rome. It is assumed that the Greeks adopted the Egyptian traditions of celebrating the birth of a god. And like many other days, they thought of days of major change, such as birthdays, as a day that could also sort of be open invitation for evil spirits to come in.
Okay.
And so they would light candles in response to these spirits and represent a light that could protect the physical presence from the darkness of the demons. And so this implies that birthday celebrations started off as a form of protection. And in addition to candles, friends and family would gather around the birthday person and protect them by good cheer and thoughts and wishes and gifts. And, so all of these traditions sort of began as a way of protecting the person. Around this time is also when its birthday started being celebrated in Rome, and this is around the first time that in history that you see the celebration of the birth of non-religious figures. So regular Roman citizens would celebrate their birthdays. The government, however, created special public holidays to honor more famous citizens. So that's obviously a custom that's continued down time.
Yeah.
In addition, any Roman who was turning 50 years old would receive a special cake baked with wheat flour, olive oil, grated cheese and honey. But an important thing to note is that this would only happen for men. Women were not allowed to celebrate birthdays, and the first time female birthdays were celebrated was only until about the 12th century.
What?
Yeah. And then you come to Christianity, and how in Christianity it is believed that all people are born with the original sin. That in combination with early birthdays being tied to pagan gods and pagan celebrations led Christians to consider birthdays to be celebrations of evil, and therefore Christians did not celebrate birthdays.
Really?
It is only after for a very long time. And it is only after the Roman Empire, so it was only with the Roman Empire's conquest in Britain and the rest of Europe that slowly Western cultures began to derive traditional celebrations from pagan cultures in an attempt to merge the two groups together.
Make everybody happy.
Yeah, and because they were obviously not coexisting peacefully until such time. And it was in the 4th century that Christians abandoned their original way of thinking and began celebrating the birth of Jesus on Christmas Day in an attempt to sort of recruit those who celebrated Saturnalia, which was a pagan and a Roman holiday at the time. And so they sort of merged the two holidays to create Christmas and the birth of Jesus. And a lot of the traditions sort of overlap, and it was sort of a mass appeasement strategy. Around this time, while regular people were probably celebrating birthdays, celebrations are small, and so it was only nobles who could really afford to have birthday celebrations at a grander scale. And a lot of the record keeping therefore only records birthdays of nobles and not of regular people. And so it was almost considered something that was synonymous with nobility. And a lot of historians believe that the wearing of the birthday crown is a result of this nobility-only birthday celebration history of how birthdays began to be celebrated.
You know what? I think I obliterated out of my head that people wear crowns during their birthdays. Like party hats.
I had actually completely forgotten as well. Also because I think now we have bachelor and bachelorette celebrations that kind of have taken on the custom of the crown, and connotations are very different with that now.
Not so innocent.
Coming to the history of birthday song, and this is my last bit for this segment. So the birthday song was, there were two sisters, Patty Hill and Mildred J. Hill, who happened to both be Kentucky school teachers, who wrote a song called Good Morning to All in 1893 that was published in a book for other school teachers to use. The original intent of the song was to be sung in class by students before starting the day. Now, it became a super catchy tune, people picked it up, and variations started being made. In 1924, Robert Coleman published a songbook that featured the song with a few extra lyrics that quickly came to overshadow the original lyrics. These new lyrics to the popular tune became what we now call the birthday song today. And in 1933, there was a musical by Irving Berlin that used this version. And one of the founding Hill sisters sued on the grounds that they held the original copyright to the tune. They won the case. The copyright still holds to this day, possibly until 2030. And the copyright proceeds amount to about $2 million a year that are split between the copyright owner and the Hill estate.
So basically what we sing these days is a remix.
And hugely profit-making remix at that.
Cool. So when I was thinking about birthdays, I was super interested in 100th birthday celebrations because it's universally celebrated, isn't it? Like, even if you're the most terrible human being in the world, if you reach 100 years, then everybody's somehow like, oh wow, congrats. So I was curious how different countries or regions celebrate it. So in Europe, centenarians in Ireland, they receive 2,540 euros, which is called a centenarian's bounty, plus a letter from the President of Ireland. I would be the first one to tear that letter up and be like, oh, yes, money. Give me the money. But then letters are a common theme because in the Netherlands, the king and the king's commissioner sends a letter on the 100th birthday and then every birthday beginning with the 105th. Apparently, there's centenarian, which is pretty impressive, but there's also super centenarian, which is if you go over the age of 110. So if you hit 110, you're a super centenarian and you can spit upon the lowly mortals that are centenarian that are only between 100 and 110. And a couple of other countries that give out letters of congratulations, otherwise known as tutu, why aren't you giving me money, are Germany, Italy, and Sweden. Sweden does the interesting telegram from the King and Queen of Sweden. In the UK, the monarch, the reigning monarch, sends greetings. It used to be as a telegram, but now it's as a letter. And then in Russia, what do you think they get in Russia, Ragini?
A crown?
No.
Okay.
Well, it's Putin, so they get a letter from Putin and nothing else, but they do get official congratulations. I was interested in which country had the most centenarians, and I'm sure everybody will be able to guess because it's pretty well documented. Which country do you think has the most?
America.
Yes. So the US, yeah. I'm sure a lot of people also guess Japan, but you are sort of half right if you guess Japan. The US has the most amount of 100-year-olds, with the number being 97,000 living in the country at the moment as of 2021. And Japan comes second with 79,000, but the Japanese per capita number is higher than the US. So centenarians in relation to the total population are higher. The number is higher in Japan than it is in the US. Some of the things that people have assumed is the reason behind why Japanese people live so damn long is because it's a combination of 5 factors. A diet that's heavy on grains, fish and vegetables, and light on meat, eggs and dairy products. So all the things that I love, they cut out of their diet, or they have low amounts of it. Low stress lifestyles, which again, impossible for me. A caring community where older adults are not isolated and are taken better care of. High levels of activity. All signs point to me not living this long. But apparently locals work until an older age than the average age in other countries, and there's an emphasis on physical activities like walking and gardening. And the last one, which is a huge part of Japanese culture, is spirituality. The concept of ikigai, which I think everybody has heard now. thanks to the internet, where a sense of purpose comes from involvement in all the important things in life and spiritual matters and prayers, which reduce stress. So good on you, Japan. So yeah.
Okay, so moving from centenary celebrations around the world to crazy birthday celebrations and traditions around the world. Apparently, there's an old tradition in parts of Germany for men who are still single on their 30th birthday to sweep the steps of City Hall while dressed in drag until they can find a virgin to kiss. Now, this is an old tradition.
How?
In today's day and age, it's been modernized. So basically, single men and women spend their 30th drinking cheap alcohol and then sweeping the steps of whatever and doing other chores. Now, the idea of doing chores is to show that you are eligible for marriage. So people do that, which I think is kind of fun. Apparently, in Brazil and Jamaica, traditions involve getting flour thrown at you. Not like flowers, but like just atta.
Oh, like flour.
Yeah. Yeah. Brazilian children will also take it a step further and throw eggs because why not? So I don't know how much fun it is to really have a birthday here.
I know, getting egged on your birthday.
In South Korea, apparently the birthday child or birthday person is served a seaweed soup because it's very nutritious and it's what a lot of mothers will eat it when they're pregnant and right after childbirth, and the custom just continues down to the children as well. And in Vietnam, people don't usually celebrate individual birthdays, but instead everyone gets together on Tet, which is a day that celebrates the Vietnamese New Year, and everyone collectively turns a year older. I like it, but also I don't like it.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know you well enough to be like, yes, you probably do want that day to yourself.
Yes. Yeah, so those are some crazy birthday traditions from around the world.
Cool. So, obviously, the internet is a wondrous place and we use it to research most of our episodes and, deep, meaningful, long sessions of researching. But I did find an article that talks about 7 unique ways birthdays are celebrated in India. And I wanted to go through the list and see if either of us has done this or had this done for us. Okay, the first one, cake feeding. Yes. Okay, great. So not unique at all.
I didn't know. I thought this was like a global thing. I thought everyone did it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty universal. Temple blessings. Apparently, a birthday typically begins with early morning visits to the temple and can be as early as 4 a.m. And prayers are offered, blessings received by priests. This all promotes good fortune in the year to come. Have you ever been to the temple?
Thankfully, no. If anyone woke me up at 4 a.m. to go to a temple on my birthday, it would not be a good birthday.
Yeah, it's sort of like self-flagellation because is it for my own good? Yes. Do I want to get up at 4 a.m.?
Not particularly.
Yeah, no. And then Aarti, which I think is a yes. It hasn't been done for me, but I've seen it being done. Pujas are performed at home, typically led by the eldest female member of the family. And the Aarti can be performed a few times in the day.
Few times in the day? Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm thinking back. I don't think... Did my parents not love me? What's happening? I feel like I need to question this a little more. New clothes.
Yes.
Okay, hit and miss for me. I was this younger sibling, so new clothes weren't really a thing for me. One of the last ones is dessert before dinner.
Yes.
Is this a thing?
Yes. Yeah, I still follow it.
Oh,
most days, not even just my birthday.
Yeah, exactly. So not a birthday tradition, just a Ragini tradition. Touching of the feet. I don't know if this is a birthday tradition, but we just do that out of respect, right?
But I guess on your birthday, you're just expected to do it as well.
I guess so. So there you go. A couple of not so unique ways birthdays are celebrated in India, debunked by 2 Indians.
Who clearly didn't have very loving parents. So now this psychology podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure my parents are enjoying listening to that.
Okay.
Now,
and
I wanted to end the
forgot.
episode. For people who don't know us, Ragini and I have been to school together. So we've known each other for a depressingly long time now. On the occasion of her birthday, I thought I'd think back and talk about some of the stuff that she's done to me.
Oh dear.
No. Ragini had a penchant for drawing on my arm and getting me into trouble for doing it.
So we were benchmates in school.
Yeah, I have endured many forms of torture from Ragini. The first time that Ragini ever sort of had a proper conversation with me, she called me out of the blue during the summer holidays before the new term began. And this was the conversation. Hi, I'm Ragini. And I said, okay, I know. And then she says, so you're sitting next to me in the new year. And me being the meek person I am. Okay. And there began a friendship. A beautiful friendship.
A love story, some might say.
That ends in a podcast.
So we can all thank that one phone call because that's what gave birth to Barely Researched Facts.
This is true. Yeah.
15 years down the line.
Yeah. So join me in wishing her a very happy birthday. Have a really happy birthday, Goob. And we will catch you guys next time.
With a full-length episode. Bye.